Hi! So today we are again doing something a little bit differently. This is a video idea that I got from Books and Lala. She does it regularly on her channel, talking about new releases and just books that she discovered and that she has on her radar, just looking if she wants to buy them in the future. Just stuff that sounded interesting, and yeah, I'm doing something similar today. It's not only about new releases, it's just about books that I discovered on websites or by watching booktube channels that I'm excited for and that I added to this want to read list on Goodreads. So yeah, I have over 3,000 on there. We will not be talking about 3,000 books today, don't worry. Just, I don't know, 10 to 20 of the ones that I added recently. So let's go to the page and to page 120. And yeah, just look at those, and if I want to, I'll go through more of them. Maybe you'll discover something new as well. Who knows? Oh, I'm not even logged in. Great. Amazing. But that doesn't matter. Oh yeah, you can win a free print copy. Good to know, but it's US only, so can't do that. So this is a horror book. I discovered a lot of books now on the Broken Binding website because they have one category in there where they show books that are coming soon to their shop, and there's always something interesting in there. So I think this one was one of them, and it's by Cassandra Core, and I think there was, yeah, that's the author who wrote these two books. And yeah, it's just a horror book with some magic and monsters in it, perfect for fans of Neil Gaiman and Joe Hill, which sounds interesting as well. I don't really like a lot of Neil Gaiman books, but I do like Joe Hill's work, so this could be really interesting. This is urban fantasy as well, so we have New York City. And yeah, I just think that it is a very interesting combination. There's more and more horror fantasy coming out, and I think that's a genre that could be really, really cool. We follow a 30-year-old woman with a lot of magic in her, and yeah, she's trying to establish herself in the magic scene with gruesome stuff. Sounds interesting. I would really like to know what she's doing. And yeah, then something is coming, an eldritch god, to give her a career boost, supposedly. But yeah, that will set off a deadly chain of events, putting everything in the path of annihilation. And yeah, I don't know, it sounds fun. I don't think that it will be very scary, but maybe it can be fun and just adventurous, exciting, and so on. So yeah, there's that, and yeah, the cover is also quite cool. Let's move on. Oh, this next one. This cover is so weird. I don't know if I like it or if I hate it. But again, this is horror, and it's an anthology, which is just something I love. I love horror short stories. And this is, what's it called? The guy who put this collection together is the one who is also the director of movies that are very famous, like Get Out, Us, and Nope. And yeah, I've only seen Get Out, but it was amazing. And yeah, this is all just black horror, which is also super cool. We need more of that. And yeah, got all kinds of authors in here. I don't know many of them, but yeah, a few of these authors I've read from. Nadia Okorafor, N.K. Jemisin is someone that you might know, Tochi Onyebuchi, Jesus Christ, Rebecca Roanhorse, and I think that's everyone I know, but that's perfect for anthologies to discover new authors, so I'm really excited about that as well. Other examples for the stories in here. A cop begins seeing huge blinking eyes where the headlights of cars should be that tell him who to pull over. Okay. Two freedom riders take a bus ride that leaves them stranded on a lonely road where unsettling stuff is awaiting them. Okay. Love that. Young girl dives into the depths of the earth in search of the demon that killed her parents. Sounds cool as well. Oh my. Just a few. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds original and creepy for sure. So yeah, excited about that. Again, not sure about this cover. But I mean, it's something. And what else do I have here? Oh yeah, some new mythology stuff, Inanna. And it's also a start to a series. I didn't know that. No idea what this is going to be, if it's different mythologies or really one story split up into several books. But yeah, I really love mythology retellings, and this is something different. We don't have your typical Greek or Roman retelling, because Inanna is from somewhere else. So I think she's also known in Babylonian myth. That's where I knew her from, but she's originally from somewhere else, I think. I don't know much about her, which is also great going into this book, because I can learn so much more and new stuff. And this is 400 pages long, so there's a lot of stuff in there. Historical fiction, mythology, retelling, yep. Love that. I only briefly read about her for my thesis, which was on Venus and Aphrodite. And yeah, really excited about this one. And it says that it will captivate readers of Madeline Miller and Jennifer Saint. So yeah, I'm expecting great quality in here. Fates of a young goddess, a warrior, and a mortal soldier collide. Interesting. Retelling of the Epic of Gilgamesh, yes. Inanna is an impossibility, the first full Anunnaki born on Earth, crowned the goddess of love. Yeah, that's why I read about her when I was reading about Venus and Aphrodite. Crowned the goddess of love by the 12 immortal Anunnaki who are worshipped across Zuma, she's destined for greatness. But Inanna is born into a time of war. The Anunnaki have split into warring factions, threatening to tear the world apart. Forced into a marriage to negotiate a peace, she soon realizes she's been placed in terrible danger. Gilgamesh, a mortal human son of the Anunnaki and notorious womanizer, finds himself captured and imprisoned by King Akka, who seeks to distance himself and his people from the gods. Arrogant and selfish, Gilgamesh is given one final chance to prove himself. Ninshuba, a powerful warrior woman, is cast out of her tribe after an act of kindness. Hunted by her own people, she escapes across the country, searching for acceptance and a new place in the world. Yeah, Inanna's and Ninshuba's stories sound the most interesting to me personally. But yeah, I love multiple perspectives in books, so that just sounds like such a perfect book. I love the cover, and yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Okay, let's move on. Oh yeah, another dragon book. We all love dragon books, especially after Fourth Wing, which I haven't read, but I mean, the hype is real. Let's just put it that way. This is very short, only 160 pages, but it's cool because it has Asian stuff in there, and dragons, and also some science fiction apparently, and it's a novella. All things that I really like, and also gods apparently, so that's cool. And yeah, no dragons were fire and terror to the Western world, but in the East they brought life-giving rain. Love that. That's already enough to make me feel intrigued. And now no longer hailed as gods and struggling in the overheated pollution of Beijing, so we have some climate stuff in there as well. Only Eastern dragons survive, so that's cool. As drought plagues the aquatic creatures, a mysterious disease, xiaolong or burnt lung, afflicts the city's humans inhabitants. I just love stuff about plagues, diseases, and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's why I'm really interested in this. I don't know how the author is able to do all this kind of stuff in just 160 pages, but I'm intrigued to find out. It's probably going to be quite fast-paced. So we follow the student Xiang Kaifei, or something like that, who scours Beijing streets for abandoned dragons, which is a cool idea in itself, and he distracts himself from his diagnosis. And then there's Elijah Ahmed, a biracial American medical researcher who's drawn to Beijing by the memory of his grandmother and her death by Xiaolong. Oh. And he's interested in these dragons, and they will form an unlikely partnership. Also, maybe these two will fall in love because of the LGBT right here. So I love research and medicine stuff. This sounds like something really cool. And all these abandoned dragons sound interesting as well, so yeah, really excited about that one. Then this one was a Goodreads recommendation, I think, because they put a lot of recommendations out as well, and I'm always interested in them, and I always, or almost always, add a lot of books just on my want-to-read list. And this is a vampire book, which is quite old. It's been first published at the beginning of 2000, and yeah, I mean, I just love vampire books, so I just had to put it on my radar. There's not a lot of synopsis here, but yeah, it's a vampire book, urban fantasy, apparently some horror, maybe young adult, but yeah, it's just something that I always try out. This next one was something that will read like a fever dream, so and it was next to books that I really loved, so I wanted to give this a chance again. It's a book that's been published a few years back in 2009, but it was first published, so yeah, not a new release in any way, and the ratings aren't the best, but that doesn't have to mean anything. So this is a really interesting synopsis. It's weird, but I do like weird books, so yeah, I'll just read it out. In the cities of coin and spice and in the night garden introduced readers to the unique and intoxicating imagination of this author, Catherine M. Valenti. And now in this one, she weaves a lyrically erotic spell of a place where the grotesque and beautiful reside, and the passport to our most secret fantasy begins with a stranger's kiss. So yeah, there's some erotica in here, apparently, beside all the science fiction and fantasy aspects. So yeah, it's a fever dream, yeah. I do believe that, without even having read a single page. So the actual synopsis says, between life and death, dreaming and waking, at the train stop beyond the end of the world is the city of palimpsests. To get there is a miracle, a mystery, a gift, and a curse. A voyage permitted only to those who've always believed there's another world than the one that meets the eye. I just love that idea in itself, that only a few people can get there, and that you really have to believe in a world that exists next to the real one that we all know. Love that concept. And yeah, it goes on. Those fated to make the passage are marked forever by a map of that wondrous city tattooed on their flesh after a single orgasmic night. So the sentence starts out so fantastical and interesting, and then it ends in this erotic thing. I don't know what to expect going into this, but it just sounds kind of cool. To this kingdom of ghost trains, lion priests, living kanji, and cream-filled kennels come four: Oleg, a New York locksmith; the beekeeper November; Ludovico, a binder of rare books; and a young Japanese woman named Sei. Like, this in itself is just so weird again. We have 4 people, everyone has some kind of job, and then there's a Japanese woman. We don't need any more information about her. What? And they've each lost something, okay. A wife, lover, sister, a direction in life, and what they'll find in palimpsest is more than they could ever imagine. I've never heard about this book, but it sounds really interesting. I don't know. I'm here for all the weird stuff. And let's see what's next. I love frogs, so a frog on the cover is always something great. And this is also a short story collection again, but it's not only horror. I think it reads a lot literary, because the examples from the short stories really sounded like literary fiction, with some horror probably in it, because I mean the genre say it's kind of horror. So what's interesting about this is, where does it say? Right here. It's featuring an array of genres, and with film rights to the stories already having been sold to Netflix, Paramount, Amblin, Lionsgate, and others. Like, what? This book has already sold film rights. I need to read it. So yeah, we have all kinds of stories. In the title story, which would be I'd really prefer not to be here with you. Oh yeah, I didn't even say what this book was titled. I'm sorry, I'm just so excited for all these books. So in the title, which is set 5 minutes in the future, where you not only have a credit score, but also a dating score. A woman who's been banished from all dating apps attends a weekly help group with others who've been banned for life and finds herself falling in love. This sounds like a John Maas book, and I'm all here for it. A dating score, like, how is this even put out? That's such a cool idea. And yeah, as I've said, it sounds a lot like literary fiction, with this help group and falling in love in there, and probably a lot of societal comment in there. But the ideas are just interesting enough, because I don't typically enjoy literary fiction, but if the premise is interesting enough, I don't care which genre the book is written in, obviously. Then we have the story Backwards, which is a twist on Benjamin Button, where a woman reconnects with her estranged father as he de-ages 10 years each day they spend together. Sounds like a very sad story, but cool idea. Benjamin Button was always an interesting concept, so yeah, interesting what this will be about in the end. Then we have Welcome to Oxhead. All the parents in a gated community shut off when the power goes out. This sounds more like real horror, but it probably has some literary stuff in there as well, talking about more than just the horror going on. Then we have Portals. I love portal fiction, so if a story is called Portals, it's something that I will probably want to read. Where there's a small town who deals with hope and loss when dozens of portals suddenly open. That's such a cool concept. It's not just one portal, it's dozens of portals. So cool. I'm interested in finding out where they lead, and if it's safe to go there, and if you can return or not. So yeah. Next one, Now of Now. 2 teenagers who can literally stop time find themselves falling in love. Could be interesting, but that's not something that I'm most excited about in this collection. Then How They Got In. A grieving family starts to see a murdered girl in all of their old home videos. That's so cool, to seeing something in home videos that you're just watching and they've always been the same, and then just suddenly a weird murdered girl turns up. Could be really cool. And then the versions. 2 stand-in androids fall in love at a wedding, even though they're not programmed to have emotion. That sounds so cute. I love stories about androids, and it sounds so cute. I hope it's a cute story and not about horror. And yeah, many other stories of the weird and wonderful. Really excited about this short story collection. And yeah, it's not too long, just 260 pages. And if there are actually film rights sold, I'm really excited to see adaptations in the future as well. So yeah, there's that. And what's the next one again? I just forget about these books after a few days. This is again a short story collection, which is science fiction and all about climate change. I've said it earlier, I love climate change stuff, I love short stories, I love science fiction, so sounds perfect to me. And this is... oh, this just says what these individual stories are about. So, we have a vast caravan of RVs that roam the United States. Okay. We have a girl who grows a unicorn horn, complicating her small town friendships and her big city ambitions. Like, yeah, it makes sense if you just randomly get a unicorn on your head. It does complicate a few things. But yeah, these sound very weird and maybe funny. Not so much literary fiction, not so much horror. So yeah, very different from some of the other short story collections I've just talked about. Then we have a young lady on a spaceship who bonds with her AI warden while trying to avoid an arranged marriage. And this is the story that really got me when I first read this synopsis. That's really the one story that I really want to read about. Sounds interesting to me. And then we have... yeah, these are all the stories that were talked about. So we have... jeez, I forgot already. This is The Last Catastrophe, if you've not seen it already, by Allegra Hyde. And it says that nothing in her universe is as it seems, yet the challenges her characters face mirror those of our modern age. So maybe some literary stuff in there. Spanning the length of our very solar system, 15 stories we have. These explore a myriad of potential futures, all while reminding us that our world is precious and that protecting it has the potential to bring us all together. Right, I already forgot that these were about climate change. Oh my. Because it doesn't really come across if you're just reading these 3 snippets from the stories. But yeah. Excited to see all the climate change in the different stories and how it's weaved together. So yeah, I'm just excited about all of these, obviously. The next one, forgot what it's about. It's also an older book. When did these other books came out? I'm so sorry for this chaotic video. So this came out in March already, with the film rights. The science fiction one I just talked about also came out in March. Interesting. Yeah, these are older books. The dragon one also came out already in 2021. The Inanna book is going to come out in just a few days, on the 1st of August. So cool. Then the horror short stories right here, they are okay. They come out in October 3rd. Out There Screaming is what it's called. I'm so sorry. Not a very professional video right here. And then Carrion City also comes out on the 3rd of October, which is also a start to a new series. Okay, so this one is an older book. Came out in 2016 and it's a standalone book. And it's historical fiction. I love historical fiction and apparently it's Asian. And I love Asian stuff. So we have 1906 in San Francisco. And we follow 15-year-old Mercy Wong, who is determined to break from the poverty in Chinatown, and an education at St. Clair's School for Girls is her best hope. So, interesting premise. I typically don't like to read in the 20th century, but 1906 is fine. That's not too modern for my taste, and I don't think I've ever read in this kind of setting in San Francisco and Chinatown and at a girls' school, so that sounds interesting. And it says, although St. Clair's is off limits to all but the wealthiest white girls, Mercy gains admittance through a mix of cunning and a little bribery, only to discover that getting in was the easiest part. Not to be undone by a bunch of spoiled heiresses, Mercy stands strong until disaster strikes. On April 18th, a historic earthquake rocks San Francisco. Climate change again, oh my. What a coincidence. And this earthquake is destroying Mercy's home and the school. What are the odds? With martial law in effect, she is forced to wait with her classmates for the families in a temporary park encampment. Though fires might rage and the city may be in shambles, Mercy can't sit by while they wait for the army to bring help. She still has the bossy cheeks that mark her as someone who gets things done. But what can one teenage girl do to heal so many suffering in her broken city? That sounds absolutely amazing. Oh my, okay. Well, now I know why I put it on my want to read list again. And yeah, the last two books that I will be talking about for today, because the video is so freaking long already, is, for example, first off, the 13th Hour, oh my, which is a start to a series. I've seen it on BookTube and I was very interested in it. First off, the cover is very cool, and this is a steampunk book, but it also has magic and fantasy in it. So it's also an older book. It's been published in September 2021. And it says, when the saints fail, the sinners step up. Cruel gods, great, rule the steam-powered city of Chime, demanding worship and tribute from the mortal subjects. Love the premise. Kale lost her faith in them long ago and now seeks to protect vulnerable and downtrodden mortals from the gods' whims. But when Kale discovers powers that she didn't know she had, and destroys a mortal's soul by accident, she becomes Chime's most wanted. And then we have Quen. Quen's job was to pursue sinners until the visions started. Haunted by foreboding images of his beloved city's destruction, Quen hunts soul-sucking creatures made of ether who prey on its citizens, and Kale is his #1 target. Sounds like an interesting dynamic. I don't like too action-packed stories, but this has a lot of stuff in it that sound very interesting and very dark, so maybe I will enjoy it. I don't know. And yeah, it goes on. To ensure Chime's future, Kale and Quen must discover the truth of Kale's divine abilities before the gods take matters into their own hands. For a city that bows to cruel gods, it'll take godless heathens to save it. And then it also says that this is the first book in a series, yes, and it's a gaslamp fantasy featuring magical portals, gothic cosmic deities, quaint Britishisms, and steampunk vibes. And it's also an adult book with mature themes and strong language. And yeah, there's a list of content warnings on the author's website if you want to check that out. But yeah, sounds like an interesting concept with the portals and the gods, and I do like steampunk if it's done great, so could be really cool. If it's too action-packed, it probably won't be for me, but I'll try it out. I'm really interested because it's also adult, 500 pages long, and yeah, I don't know, could be interesting. And yeah, then the newest book that I added was The House in the Cerulean Sea. I added it like yesterday or something. It's a well-known book. I don't think I have to talk about it much. We have a magical island and, I don't know, some children that are very different from each other and very unique. Right, this is about an orphanage where 6 dangerous children reside. A gnome, a sprite, I don't know how to call it, wyvern, an unidentifiable green blob, a Pomeranian, oh that's so cute, a Pomeranian, and the Antichrist, oh jeez, not cute. So sounds really cool and very wholesome and fantastical, maybe quite funny. It's just that I've never read about TJ Klune. Yeah, never read about him, right. I've never read a TJ Klune book. I'm currently reading the newest book in the Lives of Puppets, and I love the writing style and the plot, the idea of it being based on Pinocchio, but it's like reversing everything that Pinocchio was about. Like in Pinocchio, Pinocchio itself is the only one who is not a human, and in the Lives of Puppets it's quite the opposite, which is so cool. The only thing that I didn't like in it was the humor so far. I've only read like 50 pages, so I'm not far into it. But I just don't like these sexual jokes. They were funny for the first time, but they just repeatedly appear in the book, and I don't think they make a lot of sense. It's funny sometimes, and sometimes just a little bit annoying. But yeah, I love everything else, so I had to put another TJ Klune book on here just to remind myself that I want to read more of his books. And yeah, I've only heard amazing things about it. So yeah, these are all the books that I recently added to my want to read list. Let me know if you know any of these books and if you've read any of them and recommend them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Until then, take care, happy reading, and bye!